G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Draw with Jazza. I'm Jazza and this is the showcase video and the announcement of the winners of this last month's challenge of the month, which for May 2015 was Old versus New, where participants were required to create a depiction of something ancient in combat or in contention with something futuristic. If you're interested in voting on the theme of next month's challenge of the month, which will be announced next Monday, make sure to go vote now. So I'm going to leave you a link on the screen and in the description for you to click on and go vote. Go! Okay, you back? Cool. All right. I always feel so terribly awful when it comes to the challenge of the month announcement because the entries are so amazing and going through them all has me smiling the whole time, and I look at every single one and I consider them all very carefully, and I have a very long list of the things that will be compiled into the showcase and finalists, and I always end up having to cut it in half because there are just too many entries to put into a reasonably lengthed video on YouTube. And there were some artworks that got cut from the list of showcase or finalist entries that I really wish I didn't have to do that too, but unfortunately as a curator that's sort of my job. So I hope you understand, and I really hope that everyone who participated has had a really enjoyable time and felt like they have developed their skills and gotten something out of it, because I really appreciate everyone's entry and I want to thank you all sincerely. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the showcase because these artworks are spectacular. This piece by AJ9HTJ is called Battle of Bones and Bolts. Love the contrast in the lighting and the great use of colour. This piece by artist Vangelis Kitsadis is called The Mighty and the Mindful, which depicts Hercules fighting off cyborgs from the future. Really cool composition there, great use of foreground and background blurring. This piece by Handball 1920 is called Encounter, which depicts a futuristic cyborgish character in the foreground in the presence of a mighty ancient beast that has awoken and is ready to engage in combat. This piece by Valashi is called Defense of the Stars, and we can see Phantom Lancer from Dota 2 fighting General Grievous from Star Wars. A really interesting mix of elements and characters, which is really well depicted. This piece by May96 is called Neo versus Moses, and it depicts Neo from The Matrix and Moses from the Bible in epic sky combat. This was one of those pieces that made me laugh out loud when I saw it and still makes me chuckle when I see it, and is really well painted. Artist Te3 time painted this piece called Two Swords. The movement depicted in this piece is fantastic, especially in the cloak of the knight on the horse. Artist Fifi Althen created this piece called Tea Time Showtime, where we see three futuristic cute chibi sci-fi characters fighting an ancient golem titan. Artist Parasal created a piece called A Dinner from the Future. I love the sense of contrast between sides when we sort of feel like they might be even in their matched sense of combat in terms of, you know, technology being on the futuristic dude's side, but it still feels so dramatic and really cool. Next, Sean created this piece called Project Yauso versus Classic Yauso, characters from League of Legends in combat. The outstanding feature of this piece is in the polish of the artwork, really nice composition with the foreground and midground use of the character angles. Artist Lael Ban created a piece called Kraken versus Jaeger. Really nice use of lines and colour in the piece. It's got this really sort of sharp contrasting colour feel to it. Artist Teenager created this piece called Ancient Warriors versus Robots from the Future, where we see a lot happening but it's all really well composed and well drawn. Artist Nektoy Noi created a piece called Gemini, a lovely symmetrical feel with dramatic character poses, very crisply drawn and painted. Artist Sen Horex created a piece called The Terminator Face to Face with the Mummy. I love the composition and especially the use of light and effects on the mummy character, though I will gently point out that the Terminator has two right hands. But that being said and put out of the way, the line work and the character art is great. Artist Yuvan painted a pyramid's construction. I really like the design of the mech suit that this futuristic woman is wearing, and also the sense of action and scope and drama in the image. Artist Wayal created a piece called The Last Arm Wrestling Challenge, depicting an ancient Egyptian god in an arm wrestle, and I really like the angle of the piece and the sense of symmetry, but the strong use of colour. And Box Office Artist created this piece called Terminator vs Conan Old v New. Box Office Artist's ability to use comic style shading and outlines and character depiction is just astounding. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we arrive to the Encouragement Award. The Encouragement Award is a prize given to a recipient based on the strength of their idea and their ambition, and also where demonstrable the rate at which they have been improving in their artwork or entries. The winner will be receiving a Stillman & Byrne hardbound 5.5 by 8.5 Epsilon series sketchbook, which are my favourite brand of sketchbooks, so make sure to check them out. And they'll also be winning a How to Draw book by Christopher Hart and an item of their choosing from my JAZZA'S shop. But before I get to the winner of this prize, I wanted to go through a few of the entries I had considered for it based on the huge amount of effort and the great creative ideas that they've put forward. Lucy Greenmore painted this piece called No Iron Man Can Kill Me, which is a traditional piece showing Iron Man fighting the Witch King from Lord of the Rings. Really well composed, and I love the use of wet colours on the piece in the background and the smoke and stuff. Boo3999 created a piece called Heavy Rain, a really dramatic angle here, very ambitious piece with the use of effects and colours. Art from the Heart depicted T-Rex versus Giant Robot, a traditional piece using wet mediums and line work, and it has a great sense of contrast in the colours. Louvre04 painted this piece called 300 versus Star Wars, one of those pieces that made me laugh out loud when I saw it, just a really nice little concept there and well laid out. Phil Falcon depicted this piece called Artists of the Ages, a really clever use of showing the old school traditional version of art, fighting the new and modern futuristic way of doing art with pens and tablets and all that stuff, and I really like the way that they've been portrayed, and also like the fact that the traditional one has won, which is a bit of a nod to the fact that he's also doing it in traditional artwork himself. Artist Tadpole created the piece called The Pen is Mightier Than the Plasma Gun, which reminds me somewhat of a Van Gogh piece, and the composition throughout is quite strong, especially with the touches of yellow. Lote3K created this piece called Abacus versus Laptop, and this one of all the pieces in the entire competition made me laugh the most, I'll be completely honest. I actually chuckled at it for quite some time. A very clever idea making the most of the competition's theme. And the prize goes to artist Meat Grinder in a piece called Dead Time. This piece was selected as the Encouragement Award winner for several reasons, mainly the huge amount of ambition in the piece. There's a lot going on and there's a lot of effort in things like composition and colouring, and also because the artist has made a huge amount of improvement compared to previous submissions. This artist has really gone all out to do the best that they can, and I think it's well deserving of the commendation and the Encouragement Award prize. So next is the pool of finalists, from which I pulled the runner-up and first prize winner. Unfortunately, not all of them win those prizes, but all of the finalists will be receiving a copy of the Anatomy Reference and Pose Pack from JAZZA'S. The Anatomy Reference and Pose Pack is a compilation of photographs of segment and section of anatomy of a male and female body, demonstrating how the limbs and torso move in various ways and how the muscles work, and also a large compilation of poses, both dramatic and relaxed, and also including various weaponry. All poses are demonstrated on 4 angles, front 3/4 side and rear 3/4, and the pack was compiled to be useful for artists' reference in illustrating and painting. So if you're interested in checking that out, make sure to go check it out on JAZZA'S. Artist Victor Johnson painted Ancient versus Futuristic, where we see a battalion of defeated knights on the ground, but one last knight in shining armor charging this huge, giant, massive space robot-y thing. I love the quirkiness of the piece and the ambition of the angle and the great use of color balance. Artist Anroll painted Kraken versus Mech, an underwater battle scene depicting the ancient beast versing a futuristic mech character. I love the painted texture and the use of light bouncing off throughout the piece, all very well composed and put together. Artist Will Syndra created Goddess of the Wind Invasion of the Red Ribbon Army, where we see characters from Zelda and Dragon Ball Z facing off in epic battle. Really great painterly dramatic feel here, especially in the sky. I love the asymmetrical tilted camera angle and the great sense of framing throughout the piece, how we can see darker areas in the foreground sort of directing our eye to the center where the combat lies. Red Eye 998 painted the Lord of Terror versus Nova Level 10 Diablo versus StarCraft. Though there isn't too much happening in this piece beyond the characters themselves, what we do see of the characters is very well painted and depicted on that angle, and the characters and poses feel very tangible and solid. HGCD created Face Off, where we see a teeny tiny little ancient warrior at the bottom there facing this giant monstrosity of a futuristic plasma leaking space thing. I love the acidic glow of the green lights and the smoky atmospheric feeling of the piece. Red John painted World of Warcraft versus StarCraft, great use of detail and a nice action-based combat pose. Demo Sodin painted Cthulhu versus Sith, where we can see a Sith in the foreground commanding elements and his armies to attack the ancient beast Cthulhu, who is seemingly not very fazed by what's happening to him. And now we arrive at our final prize winners. Our runner-up will receive a 9x12 Epsilon Series wire-bound sketchbook with a front page drawn on and signed by me and a copy of the book Masters of Anatomy. They'll also receive an item of their choosing from my JAZZA'S Studios shop and a bunch of great custom Photoshop brushes by Kyle T. Webster. Our runner-up prize goes to artist Coco Longo. Coco Longo painted a piece called Old v New, which depicts an alien species T-Rex fighting a berserker-style warrior on a desolate battlefield. This piece has a fantastic gritty aesthetic and mixes both that sense of detail and polish as well as that sort of gritty, sketchy line work in an interesting and working way. The mixture of elements within the theme is unique, and I particularly like the alien species T-Rex, which is really well depicted. And finally, we come to our first prize winner, who will be receiving a medium Wacom Intuos Pro digital tablet. On top of that, they'll get an item of their choosing from my JAZZA'S Studios shop and some custom Photoshop brushes by Kyle T. Webster. And the winner of the first prize is artist Art Aaron, with a piece he created called Hell on Earth. This piece depicts ancient dragons being woken up in the future and fighting spacey looking dudes. The composition of this piece, the use of lighting and environmental and elemental effects through the snow and the fire, the light glistening behind the wings of the dragon, and the overall desaturated feel with the clever use of impacting color wherever the focus is, and the dramatic use of perspective and the great viewing angle. It's all well composed and really well painted and put together, and well deserving of the first prize. So thank you very much. All of the finalists and winners, make sure to check your Newgrounds inbox because you will be sent details on how to collect your prize. And to everyone who has participated in this challenge of the month, thank you so much for entering. Looking through all of your entries was a complete blast, and I highly recommend that everyone watching this stay tuned for the rest and check out the awesome artworks, which you can also see the link in the description that will lead to the page where you can see them all in context and check them out to your heart's content. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Make sure to check out the link in the description once more and vote on the next challenge of the month, which will be announced on Monday. And until next time, I'll see you later.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel to see new content every week. Check out more of my stuff by clicking the annotations over there. If you want to support my work and get a few goodies for yourself, head over to my store for archives, ebooks, and get yourself something nice. If you're looking for a great place to collaborate, explore, or share your own content, head over to newgrounds.com. That's it for now, and until next time, see you later.